Coming up on 5 Minute News. US hunger crisis persists, especially for children. Black advisor quits UK government in wake of racism report. And Apple to build battery-based solar energy storage in California. It's Friday, April 2. I'm Anthony Davis. America is starting to claw its way out of the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic, but food insecurity persists, especially for children and older adults. Food banks around the US continue giving away far more canned, packaged and fresh provisions than they did before the virus outbreak tossed millions of people out of work, forcing many to seek something to eat for the first time. For those who are now back at work, many are still struggling, paying back rent or trying to rebuild savings. Data from Feeding America, a national network of most food banks in the US, shows that its members dispensed far more in the last 3 months of 2020 compared with the same period in 2019. Katie Fitzgerald, Feeding America's chief operating officer, said the network's members are still seeing demand above pre-pandemic levels, although final numbers for this year's first quarter aren't yet available. Fitzgerald said she expects the food banks will collectively distribute the equivalent of 6 billion meals this year, about the same amount they gave away last year and far above the 4.2 billion meals given out in 2019. America's year-long food insecurity crisis has been felt especially sharply by children who lost easy access to free school meals, and older adults who struggled to get groceries or meals at senior centres because they are worried about contracting the virus. The most senior black advisor to the UK Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has resigned, the government said on Thursday, the day after a report on racial disparities concluded that Britain does not have a systemic problem with racism. The government denied any link between the departure of Samuel Kasumu and the much-criticised report, which activists and academics have accused of ignoring the experiences of ethnic minority Britons. The Prime Minister's office said Kasumu would leave his job as a special advisor for civil society and communities in May, as had been his plan for several months. It denied the resignation was related to Wednesday's publication of the report by the government-appointed Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities, which concluded that Britain is not an institutionally racist country. But Simon Woolley, a former government equalities advisor and a member of the UK House of Lords, said Kasumu's exit was connected to the grubby and divisive report. There is a crisis at number 10 when it comes to acknowledging and dealing with persistent race inequality, Woolley said. Kasumu had considered quitting in February. He wrote a resignation letter that accused Johnson's Conservative Party of pursuing a politics steeped in division. He was persuaded to remain temporarily to work on a campaign encouraging people from ethnic minorities to get vaccinated against coronavirus. The Conservative government launched the inquiry into racial disparities in the wake of anti-racism protests last year. A panel of experts concluded that while outright racism exists in Britain, the country is not institutionally racist or rigged against ethnic minorities. Many anti-racism activists were sceptical of the findings, saying the Commission ignored real barriers to equality. Apple has announced it will build a battery-based renewable energy storage facility in central California near a solar energy installation that already provides energy for all of its facilities in the state. Apple said the project will store 240 megawatt tons of energy, or enough to power more than 7,000 homes for one day. It is located next to the California Flats solar installation in southeastern Monterey County, about 100 miles southeast of Apple's Cupertino, California headquarters. The site sends 130 megawatts of electricity directly to Apple's California facilities during daylight hours, but does not provide power during dark hours. Lisa Jackson, Apple's Vice President of Environment, Policy and Social Initiatives, said the company intends to develop what it believes will be one of the largest battery-based storage systems in the United States. Jackson said that Apple plans to share its findings from building the project with other companies, but said it was too early to say precisely how it would do so. Apple has other projects where it has shared environmental technology developments, including an aluminium smelting joint venture in Canada and an Apple recycling technology lab in Texas. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.